So Ernest Winzer as a company has been cleaning for Broadway since 1908. So we pretty much clean just about everything that you can think of. We've been doing Radio City since its inception. This past year was the first year that they actually did not have a show.
It's not just Broadway. You have your cleaners are open to the public. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah. Broadway, or the entertainment industry as a whole, but Broadway being the biggest piece of that for us, probably represents at least 75% of our business.
There's a lot of history with Winzer Cleaners. Can you tell me a little bit more about your father and his background that led him into starting the cleaners?
So actually it goes back further than that. So Ernest Winzer was actually a person not related to our family.
Okay.
Who started the business in 1908, was the dry cleaner for Broadway. That was the biggest part of his business. My grandfather in the 50s had owned laundries, and the big laundries were becoming a little less needed because people were really starting to get home washers in their homes. So Ernest Winzer was looking to retire, and somebody put the two of them together. My grandfather continued it as Ernest Winzer Cleaners because it existed. And then I started at a young age, really, because my father was the only father that wasn't on the Little League field with us. So the only way I could kind of be with my dad was to go to work. Windsor's it's a really cool place, for an adult or for a kid, just because there's, all this stuff there that there's not in a regular dry cleaner. So it became a passion.
Where is Winzer Cleaners located?
It's in the Bronx, right off the Major Deegan. Been in that location since the beginning. It was originally located actually literally across the street from us. But when they built the Major Deegan in that area, they had to dig down. And so all the businesses that were on that side of the street don't exist anymore. And the city moved us into what was an abandoned building at that point. The building that we're in goes back to the 1800s. So even the building itself is kind of cool.
Tell me a little bit about the Winzer Truck, because it's a big image for the company.
There's a picture of Ernest Winzer in a truck, a 1930 truck like that. So it was a friend of mine who said, wouldn't it be cool to find the exact truck and restore it? And so first we had to figure out what it was, which we were able to do successfully. And then we had to find one. And because it's a box delivery style truck, it was a lot easier to find pickup styles from the 1930s. I think we're 12 years into the project. And I believe at this point, it's the third shop that it's been at, but it's literally done and it's literally running. We were supposed to actually show it in a car show last summer for the first time. And, obviously COVID hit, so that didn't happen, but hopefully that's happening this year.
What's one aspect of your job or the industry that someone would be surprised by?
The hours that Bruce keeps.
Yeah, that's actually what I was going to say too. Our week basically starts on Sunday. If all Broadway shows are open, because we also do some off-Broadway as well, we can pick up anywhere between 20 and 30 shows. So it's the coordinating of that. It's the coordinating with the drivers. And then we start our morning checking in everything 2:00 Monday morning. And it's organizing, categorizing, getting everything together. There might be a few things that have to go back Monday, but the majority of it doesn't have to be back till Tuesday at lunchtime. Between Monday and Tuesday morning, you've probably already delivered 20 something shows, and you still may have another 10 or 15.
When Bruce sees a garment, which he probably sees every single garment that comes in, he takes a picture of it in his head and he will know where something belongs.
A little bit of a photographic memory there.
Yeah, we had a wardrobe person, I won't tell you the show. She was looking for a coat and we were going back and forth, and she said, I got however many coats it was, but I don't have this one coat. And we're back and forth, and for me, I take it very personally, even if it's out of my control, but I'm responsible for it, right?
Right.
So ultimately, the end of that story was she was holding the coat in her hand the whole time. She had sewn somebody else's name over it.
Oh.
And she was looking for the original actor's name, I guess.
Oh boy.
Right.
What do you guys do during the day? What happens when the clothes come in?
So again, even if, whether it's shows or just retail garments, everything gets invoiced and ticketed. So, and then you break down into loads and stuff. If there's spots that you're aware of, you might work on them before you clean it. So before anything gets pressed, hopefully you have all the stains out. Any kind of alterations that we may need to do, like if there's, hanging buttons or like something that we can repair, because again, we look for the garment to go back, whether it be for Broadway or for, retail. It needs to be perfect and they need to wear it.
Is there anything you don't clean?
Toilet.
No. Yeah, toilet. I clean toilets, honey.
Yes, you clean toilets at work.
There's nothing that scares me. We'll always figure out a way to do it, even if it's hand cleaning. What I really hate is like black and white combinations and red and white combinations, because nobody thinks about the fact that it's going to bleed. So we've taken things apart to clean it. Radio City, there's certain things that come apart for the cleaning specifically. When they make a new costume for the show, we usually will work hand in hand to try to figure out the best way of making it so that they get obviously what they want, but so that we can service it.
What are your feelings about Broadway coming back? And do you think it's going to be slow, fast?
Yeah, I think it's going to be slow. I don't think anybody in the beginning thought it was going to be as long as it is at this point.
We all thought we were going to be closed for 2 weeks. So no one really thought about these clothes. Has anyone reached out to you to discuss cleaning them before, we start back up?
Right. So when we initially shut down, I heard maybe 3 or 4 hours before the general public heard about it. So I started reaching out and everybody was just in such a panic. But the first real big show closing that happened because of COVID was Frozen. So those costumes, like for example, had only been in the theater for a couple of months and it wasn't even into the hot summer yet. When they came in, like you could not tell the difference. But as we got through the summer and we made some other pickups, we definitely started seeing things, nothing that we haven't been able to salvage. At this point, I think the problem is we're going to get hit all at once, but nobody's doing any cleaning because they haven't gotten their grants yet, right? So they don't have any money. I think if you shut down, it's going to be very hard to reopen. So you got to try to keep the door open as long as you can, really. Like I'm expecting that Radio City will have the Christmas show. We're trying to make sure that we can produce it with the people that we have.
How are your employees hanging in there? Will all of them come back?
When it sort of came down to, so what are we doing to survive type of thing, about half of them chose to not work. Like, so we had 2 seamstresses. One is still with us part-time, the other one's not. I had 4 drivers, 2 chose to work. It wasn't like we had to go and say, listen, either you or you need to not work because I only have enough work for one of you. So we were fortunate with that. But at this point, we're counting on them all coming back.
We originally connected because you said that you guys cleaned some Cher costumes, the Cher show costumes.
What we do, I guess, is interesting, in general. But I guess what caught my eye about the Cher thing is we also do her personal, performing stuff, and have been doing that since I believe my father has an autograph from her in the 80s. So, we've been working with her for a long time.
That to me is like, oh my God. Still to this day, oh my God. She's just, to me, I grew up watching Cher. So it was like, who's my favorite? Definitely Cher.
Are there any other memorable shows that you can think of off the top of your head that, for whatever reason, you remember it? Maybe it's a cleaning process.
So my grandfather's favorite show was My Fair Lady. Literally any show he saw after My Fair Lady, if you asked him if he enjoyed it, his answer was always, it wasn't My Fair Lady. Nobody really knows if my grandfather enjoyed any other show, because that was always his answer.
Would this be the My Fair Lady with Julie Andrews that he
Yes.
saw? Wow.
Yeah, the original, yeah.
Do you have a favorite part of the process?
At this point, it's probably the relationships. In 2018, we were honored with a Tony Award for what was 110 years of service at that point. It just made the family seem that much bigger, and COVID has done the same thing. In the beginning of COVID, we ended up teaming up with, I don't know if you know Open Jar Studios, Jeff Whiting, who owns it. We teamed up with him to make the gowns. And it was a way of giving back. And again, it opened up relationships that'll probably be there forever at this point.